Hello my dear friends. Picture yourself in the bustling markets of ancient China, where the air is filled with the heady aromas of sweetened rice, honeyed fruits, and exotic spices. Imagine the laughter of children as they chase after vendors selling sugary delights, the vibrant colors of jasmine blossoms adorning every stall, and the tantalizing sights of culinary wonders just waiting to be tasted. But here comes the cheeky reality check. You probably won't survive this ancient food adventure without a few quirky moments of surprise. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. As you envision yourself wandering through time, getting cozy with the warmth of those ancient kitchens, let's ease into tonight's journey together. In the vast tapestry of ancient Chinese cuisine, the sweet treats were more than mere desserts. They formed an integral part of celebration and community. Imagine wandering down a narrow alley, the air thick with the scent of caramelized sugar and roasted nuts. You would find tantalizing pastries, sticky rice cakes, and syrupy fruits, each bite echoing the rich, intricate history of the land. But ice cream as we know it, that's a different story altogether. The glamorous illusion paints a picture of a smooth, creamy scoop served on a warm summer day, the delightful coldness meeting the warmth of a sun-drenched afternoon. However, the shocking reality reveals that the concept of frozen treats in ancient China was far from the luxurious experience we expect today. You see, in ancient China, the art of creating frozen delicacies was rudimentary at best. Their understanding of ice storage was limited, and instead of creamy, churned ice creams, they crafted simple cold desserts, often using whatever they could find in nature, a stark contrast to the rich dairy-based ice creams we savor in modern times. The ancient Chinese utilized snow and ice in a completely different context than we do today. They would gather snow from the mountains, storing it in ice houses, and mix it with fruits or sweet pastes. The idea of creating a frozen dessert was born out of necessity. It was a way to provide relief from the heat, but lacked the indulgent creaminess that characterizes today's ice cream. The why behind this practice lies in their environment and resources. Ancient China, with its varying climates, had access to natural ice in the winter months, but the scorching summers posed a challenge. Therefore, the creation of cold treats relied heavily on what could be gathered and preserved. This necessity forged a culinary path that would evolve over centuries. As you imagine the scene, picture the artisans of ancient China laboring over their creations, experimenting with flavors and textures. These humble beginnings set the stage for a culinary journey that would span centuries, eventually leading to the sophisticated ice cream we know and love today. This narrative of ancient desserts opens up a world of flavors, techniques, and an understanding of how cultural practices shape our culinary experiences. With this context in mind, let's delve deeper into the origin of how these cold treats came to be, exploring the very first steps towards what we might call ice cream. As we embark on this journey, allow your mind to wander back to ancient China, a land where the delicate balance of nature and ingenuity birthed culinary innovations. Here, ice was not merely a byproduct of winter's chill, it was a precious commodity that held the key to a world of refreshment and delight. Imagine walking across the frozen landscape, the crunch of snow underfoot as you seek out the hidden stores of ice carefully preserved by clever artisans. The birth of ice in culinary practices can be traced back to ancient times, when people discovered the art of harvesting and storing ice. The glamorous illusion here depicts a lavish banquet where elegantly carved ice sculptures are showcased, glistening under lanterns, while guests indulge in exotic dishes. The reality, however, tells a different tale. In those times, ice was collected from mountain tops during the winter months and then transported down to valleys where it was stored in specially designed pits or ice houses. These structures were often insulated with straw or sawdust, allowing the ice to last well into the warmer months. However, it was a labor-intensive process that required not only a deep understanding of the seasons, but also a fair bit of physical endurance. Imagine the long hikes in frigid temperatures, the heavy lifting, and the careful handling of the precious cargo. The why behind such an effort is rooted in the cultural significance that ice and coldness held in ancient Chinese society. Ice was revered not just for its refreshing properties, but also for its association with purity and cleanliness. This reverence was evident in how ice was used in medicinal practices, believed to cool the body and alleviate ailments. It was a symbol of status, representing a connection to the natural world and the ability to harness it for pleasure and health. When it came to culinary applications, the ancient Chinese recognized the potential of ice as a means to create unique textures and temperatures in their dishes. Instead of simply serving chilled fruits or drinks, they experimented with combinations of ice, sweetened pastes, and even fruits, resulting in a crude form of what we might conceptualize as a frozen dessert. Imagine a bustling kitchen in a noble household, where cooks blend crushed ice with finely ground rice and sweet red bean paste to create a refreshing, albeit rustic, cold treat. The end product would be a mixture that resembles a slushy concoction far removed from the smoothness of contemporary ice cream. Yet, the joy it brought was immense, offering a brief respite from the sweltering heat of summer days. As we reflect on these early culinary practices, we see the seeds of creativity and innovation being sown. The use of ice signified not just a practical solution to the heat, but also a cultural desire to enjoy life's pleasures, even in the simplest forms. This early experimentation laid the groundwork for what would eventually evolve into a refined dessert experience. With this understanding of ice's role in ancient kitchens, it's time to turn our attention to the sweet ingredients that were prevalent during this era. How did these components influence the development of cold treats? Let's uncover the fascinating world of sweet flavors and their connection to the early versions of ice cream. Now, as you immerse yourself in this narrative, picture the vibrant marketplaces of ancient China, filled with colorful fruits stacked high and the air perfumed with the rich sweetness of honey and sugar. Imagine the soft rustle of silk robes as traders and nobility alike sample the bounty of nature, delighting in the flavors that would eventually intertwine with ice to create tantalizing desserts. The world of ancient Chinese sweets is a treasure trove of flavors, textures, and culinary creativity waiting to be unveiled. The glamorous illusion surrounding ancient Chinese desserts paints a picture of opulent delicacies, elegantly presented on embroidered silk platters at grand banquets. Imagine beautiful pastries glazed with honey, shimmering like jewels in the candlelight, each bite a testament to the skill of talented chefs. Yet beneath this exquisite fade lies a shocking reality. Many of these sweet delights were not just simple pleasures, but often bore the weight of history, tradition, and even moments of desperation. In ancient China, sugar was a luxury, slowly introduced to the populace through trade routes as early as the Han Dynasty. Before that, sweeteners like honey and maltose made from grains were used. Imagine a cook, laboring over a fire, skillfully mixing honey with rice flour to create a sweet pasta. This was the foundation of many ancient confections. The process was labor-intensive and required both skill and creativity, as sweets were often made from whatever ingredients were available. The why behind the use of these sweeteners is steeped in both necessity and desire. In a society that revered balance in all things between yin and yang, between the elements, sweetness was considered a vital component in achieving harmony. Sweet treats were often served during festivals and special occasions, symbolizing joy and prosperity. Each morsel conveyed a message of hope, unity, and celebration, making them more than just food, but rather an integral part of cultural rituals. As the ancient cooks experimented with their ingredients, a variety of desserts began to emerge. These early sweets included things like candied fruits, sticky rice cakes, and flour-based pastries. Imagine biting into a piece of sweetened lotus seed paste encased in a delicate pastry. There's flavors bursting forth as you savor the treat. This mixture of textures and tastes paved the way for innovation, encouraging further experimentation with the cold elements brought forth by ice. At this juncture, we can see how the combination of sweet ingredients with the refreshing qualities of ice began to blossom. The need to escape the heat of summer, paired with the desire for something sweet, naturally led to attempts at creating frozen confections. Picture the artisans of ancient China, pouring their creativity and determination into crafting these cold delights, using whatever sweet ingredients they had on hand. As these practices evolved, they would eventually give rise to more complex desserts. But before we explore the mythical aspects of ancient frozen treats, let's take a moment to consider how these sweet concoctions were perceived in their day. What role did they play in the grand tapestry of ancient Chinese culture? Get ready to uncover the hidden tales of frozen desserts within the realm of legends and folklore, where reality meets imagination in extraordinary ways. As we delve deeper into the enchanting world of ancient Chinese desserts, let your imagination take flight, filled with the whispers of legends and tales that have shaped the culinary landscape. Picture yourself seated around a flickering fire, surrounded by family and friends, listening intently as stories emerge from the depths of history. You hear of mythical beings and celestial delights, where the boundaries between reality and imagination blur, especially when it comes to the charm of frozen treats. The glamorous illusion presents a dazzling image of these cold delicacies, perhaps served by fairies in moonlit gardens or crafted by wise sages who had mastered the secrets of ice and sugar. Yet the shocking reality is that while these stories may seem fanciful, they are often rooted in the very practices of ancient people who sought to explain the wonders of their world through legends. In ancient Chinese folklore, there are tales of the 8 immortals, legendary figures known for their supernatural abilities and their love of indulgent food. Among these stories is one that paints a picture of a celestial banquet, where the gods enjoyed delicacies made from fruits harvested from the heavens, chilled by the whispers of ice. This mythical feast is a reflection of the cultural importance placed on food, especially during significant celebrations and festivals. The why behind these stories lies in a cultural desire to explain natural phenomena and elevate everyday experiences into something extraordinary. The concept of ice and its association with purity and clarity often found expression in these tales, serving as a metaphor for the refreshing and rejuvenating qualities of these desserts. Frozen treats became symbols of heavenly pleasure, linking the mundane to the divine, emphasizing the joy of sharing food with loved ones. Imagine the excitement as people gathered to celebrate the arrival of summer, sharing their own versions of frozen delights inspired by these tales. They would recount stories of how the moon goddess once created a dessert that delighted mortal palates, inspiring an entire community to experiment with sweet flavors and ice. The sharing of these stories helped create a collective memory of these culinary practices, weaving them into the very fabric of ancient Chinese culture. Yet, beneath the enchanting surface of these stories lies the reality that many of these treats were not as glamorous as the myths suggested. The actual process of creating cold desserts was often rudimentary, filled with trial and error. Think about the challenges faced by those early cooks as they experimented with ice, blending it with whatever sweet pastes they could create. For example, on particularly hot days, a mixture of crushed ice and sweet red beans might have formed the basis for a simple yet enjoyable treat. Picture a child joyfully digging into a bowl of this icy concoction, blissfully unaware of the hard work and creativity that brought it to life. These narratives of frozen treats, woven together with legend and reality, showcase the rich cultural significance of food in ancient China. They remind us that even the simplest of pleasures carry deep meanings and connections to history, family, and community. As we continue to explore the world of ancient desserts, our next focus will shift toward the royal courts of China, where the art of crafting frozen delights became a matter of prestige and display. What lavish banquets awaited, and how did ice and cold treats play a role in these opulent gatherings? Let's uncover the stories of indulgence and the culinary secrets held within those grand halls. As we transition to the opulent courts of ancient China, imagine the grand halls adorned with intricate silks and golden embellishments, where the air is heavy with the scent of exotic spices and the sound of flowing. Picture yourself amongst the nobility, seated at an elaborately set table, where each dish is a masterpiece crafted with the utmost care and artistry. Here, in this world of luxury, ice and cold treats were not just culinary creations. They were symbols of power, prestige, and the pinnacle of culinary innovation. The glamorous illusion of these royal banquets is a sight to behold, lavish spreads of meticulously arranged delicacies, where ice sculptures tower like ancient pagodas and exquisite desserts glisten under the soft glow of lantern light. Yet, the shocking reality is that the pursuit of such grandeur often came at a cost. The extravagant use of ice required resources, labor, and an understanding of techniques that were not accessible to all. In the imperial courts, ice was a coveted commodity, reserved for emperors and their closest advisors. The procurement of ice involved not only the labor-intensive process of harvesting it during the winter months, but also intricate trade networks that ensured a steady supply. Picture the servants braving the elements to retrieve the prized ice, laboring to preserve it so that it could be enjoyed during the sweltering summer months. The effort that went into creating these frozen delicacies was a reflection of the status and power of those who indulged in them. At these grand feasts, the use of ice was often accompanied by elaborate presentations. Imagine witnessing a chef bringing out a beautifully carved block of ice, adorned with colorful fruits and sweet pastes, transforming it into a stunning display that would dazzle the guests. These visual spectacles were designed to impress, showcasing the chef's skill and the wealth of the household. However, behind the elegance lay the reality of culinary experimentation. Not every creation was a success. The why behind these extravagant practices can be traced back to the societal structures of ancient China, where hierarchy and status dictated every aspect of life. The ability to serve ice and intricate desserts signified a household's affluence and sophistication. Emperors and nobles prided themselves on their culinary prowess, often competing to outdo one another with their lavish feasts. The pressure to present the best, most luxurious dishes added to the allure of ice as a culinary ingredient. Within the confines of the royal kitchens, experimentation was rampant. Cooks would blend ice with sweetened syrups, fruit extracts, and even herbal infusions to create a variety of cold desserts. Imagine the boldness of a chef daring to mix crushed ice with exotic spices from the Silk Road or infusing it with the essence of fragrant peach blossoms. The creativity flowed as freely as the wine, and the results ranged from delightful to disastrous. While the nobility revelled in these frozen delights, the common people were left to admire from afar. The disparity in access to these ice-based indulgences created a divide within society. However, these allure of ice cream-like treats began to penetrate the consciousness of the masses, inspiring humble attempts at creating their own versions with whatever resources they could gather. As we unravel the opulent world of royal banquets, let's now shift our gaze to the streets and alleys of ancient China, where the common populace sought their own ways to create refreshing cold treats. How did they navigate the challenges of limited resources, and what unique methods did they employ? Join me as we explore the creative spirit of the everyday people crafting their own icy confections. Now, as we step away from the grandeur of imperial banquets, let your mind meander into the lovely streets of ancient China, filled with the sounds of chatter and laughter. Picture the bustling markets, where vendors hawked their wares and the air was thick with the aroma of sizzling meats and sweet confections. Amongst this vibrant chaos, the common people, too, were drawn to the allure of icy delights, crafting their own versions of cold treats with resourcefulness and creativity. The glamorous illusion here might suggest that only the wealthy could enjoy such luxuries as ice-based desserts. However, the shocking reality is that the ingenuity of the common folk often led to delightful innovations that rivaled those crafted in royal kitchens. Without access to the lavish ingredients or the means to transport ice over long distances, they turned to nature and their immediate surroundings for inspiration. In these bustling marketplaces, you could find vendors offering simple yet refreshing concoctions made from crushed ice mixed with freshly squeezed fruit juices or sweetened rice flour. Imagine the scene, a smiling vendor pouring a vibrant, aromatic syrup over a mound of crushed ice, transforming a humble dessert into a colorful treat. These street-side creations were accessible to all, providing sweet relief from the scorching heat of summer days. The why behind the popularity of these icy delights among the common people is rooted in their need for affordable refreshment and a desire for enjoyment even in modest circumstances. The hot, humid summers in China necessitated refreshing treats, and while the wealthy feasted on elaborate desserts, the everyday folk found joy in simpler pleasures. The shared experiences of enjoying these treats fostered a sense of community, as families and friends gathered around vendors to indulge in the same icy delights. In their quest for creativity, the common people employed various methods to make their cold treats. They often used whatever ingredients were at hand, blending crushed ice with local fruits, kabotakaba, lychee, or even sweetened black sesame paste. Picture a mother standing at a stall, watching her children eagerly savor the frozen concoctions, their faces lit with delight. Each vendor brought their own twist, resulting in a delightful array of flavors and textures. One popular approach was to create a rudimentary form of snow cream, where finely shaved ice was combined with sweetened fruit pastes. Imagine the joy of tasting a soft mound of frozen sweetness, a far cry from the rich and creamy ice creams of modern times, yet equally satisfying. The simplicity of these creations belied the complexity of flavors that came from the careful selection of ingredients. As the common folk embraced their own versions of cold treats, word of mouth spread and recipes began to evolve. The icy delights made their way into festivals and family gatherings, becoming a staple at summer celebrations. You can almost hear the laughter echoing through the streets as children clamor for another scoop, their faces sticky with sweetness. While the wealthy nobility showcased their extravagant desserts, the street vendors and common people celebrated the beauty of simplicity and creativity. This divergence in culinary practices highlighted the rich tapestry of Chinese culture, where both opulence and modesty had their place. With this understanding of how the common people navigated the world of icy treats, let's shift our focus to the influence of the Silk Road. As this ancient trade route flourished, it brought with it not only goods but also ideas, flavors, and techniques. How did these exchanges shape the landscape of dessert making in ancient China? Let's uncover the culinary connections forged along the Silk Road. As we embark on the next chapter of our tasty journey, let your imagination transport you along the winding paths of the Silk Road, that ancient network of trade routes that connected east and west. Picture yourself in a bustling caravanserai, where merchants and travelers converge, sharing stories and goods from distant lands. The air is thick with the enticing scents of spices, dried fruits, and exotic ingredients waiting to be discovered. This vibrant tapestry of cultures played a pivotal role in shaping the culinary landscape of ancient China, including the evolution of frozen desserts. The glamorous illusion surrounding the Silk Road tells a tale of luxurious exchanges and opulent treasure silks, spices and precious jewels being traded across vast distances. However, the shocking reality is that, beneath this glittering surface, the exchange was not merely about wealth, it was also fundamentally about ideas, knowledge, and the sharing of culinary practices. As traders journeyed along the Silk Road, they carried with them not only tangible goods but also recipes and techniques that transcended borders. Imagine a Persian merchant sharing stories of rosewater-infused sweets, or an Arab trader introducing the concept of using milk in desserts. These interactions sparked curiosity and innovation among Chinese cooks, blending their own traditions with new flavors and methods. One of the most significant contributions from the Silk Road was the introduction of dairy products, particularly milk and cream. Initially scarce in ancient China, the arrival of dairy transformed the possibilities for frozen confections. Picture a Chinese cook, intrigued by the concept of creamy desserts, experimenting with local ingredients to create new iterations of sweet, icy treats. The use of milk in desserts would eventually lead to a richer, more indulgent experience, laying the groundwork for ice cream-like creations. The why behind this exchange can be traced to the interconnectedness of cultures. As people mingled and shared their culinary secrets, they inadvertently fostered creativity and innovation. The desire to explore new flavors and textures drove cooks to experiment, leading to the development of unique sweet treats that reflected the diverse influences flowing through the Silk Road. Imagine the excitement in kitchens across ancient China as these new ingredients found their way into sweet recipes. Cooks began blending milk with crushed ice, sweet pastes, and even fruits to craft desserts that were unlike anything seen before. Possibilities seemed endless, as they experimented with flavors that combined the familiar with the exotic. Moreover, this blending of traditions wasn't limited to just ingredients. Cooking techniques, too, evolved through this cultural exchange. Steam cooking, for instance, came alongside the introduction of new grains and cooking vessels, enhancing the dessert-making process. Picture a bustling kitchen, where cooks are using newly acquired techniques to refine their preparations, creating delicacies that would impress even the most discerning palates. As the influence of the Silk Road began to reshape dessert practices in ancient China, the humble icy treats evolved into something more sophisticated and luxurious. No longer limited to simple mixtures of crushed ice and sweet pastes, the introduction of dairy and new flavors allowed for the creation of decadent desserts that tantalized the senses. But, as we celebrate these culinary innovations, let's not forget that not all experiments yielded success. The merging of flavors and techniques often resulted in some amusing failures. Imagine a cook pulling a batch of overly creamy ice that had turned into a peculiar, unappetizing blob, an unexpected consequence of mixing unfamiliar ingredients. Yet, these mishaps only fueled the creativity of the chefs, pushing them to explore and refine their craft. Now that we've explored the transformative impact of the Silk Road, let's shift our focus to the role of dairy in ancient Chinese cuisine. How did the gradual incorporation of dairy products influence the evolution of frozen desserts, and what unique challenges did cooks face in this journey? Join me as we uncover the creamy legacy that dairy left on ancient Chinese culinary practices. As we continue our exploration, let's delve into the rich narrative of dairy in ancient Chinese cuisine. Picture yourself in a lively market where farmers display baskets filled with fresh milk and creamy cheeses, the air thick with the alluring scent of dairy products. Here, amidst the vibrant colors and busy chatter, we find the pivotal role that dairy played in transforming the landscape of culinary delights, especially in the realm of frozen desserts. The glamorous illusion surrounding dairy often paints a picture of abundance and richness, where creamy treats flow freely and are enjoyed by all. However, the shocking reality reveals that dairy products were not always readily available in ancient China. The consumption of milk varied greatly across regions and was often met with skepticism. Many viewed dairy as a foreign concept, with some traditional beliefs labeling it as unclean or unsuitable for human consumption. Historically, the introduction of dairy to Chinese cuisine was a gradual process influenced by various factors. The northern regions of China, where nomadic tribes grazed livestock, had a different relationship with dairy compared to the agrarian south, where rice was the staple. Imagine a pastoral scene where nomadic herders skillfully crafted yogurt and cheese, passing on their knowledge to settled communities. This exchange of ideas and practices played a crucial role in integrating dairy into the broader culinary landscape. The why behind this hesitance toward dairy can be traced to cultural beliefs and dietary habits. For centuries, the Chinese diet was heavily centered around grains, vegetables, and proteins from plant sources. Introducing milk into this equation required a shift in mindset, one that was only gradually embraced as trade routes expanded and cultural exchanges flourished. As dairy began to make its mark in the kitchens of ancient China, cooks experimented with it in a myriad of ways. Picture a chef meticulously combining fresh cow's milk with honeyed pastes, striving to create a luxurious blend that could elevate their frozen desserts. The introduction of dairy products unlocked a new realm of possibilities, allowing for a creamier texture that was previously unattainable with just ice and sweet pastes. However, the challenges of using dairy were not to be underestimated. Without refrigeration, preserving milk was a daunting task, and many cooks had to rely on traditional techniques of fermentation to extend its shelf life. Imagine the process of transforming fresh milk into creamy yogurt or cheese, a method that would not only enhance the flavor but also make dairy more palatable for those who were initially hesitant. As dairy started to gain acceptance, the landscape of frozen desserts began to change. Cooks crafted icy confections that blended the silky smoothness of cream with the refreshing chill of ice. Imagine a bowl filled with a delicate mixture of crushed ice and sweetened milk, topped with colorful fruits and nuts. This transformation marked the beginnings of a new era in dessert making, paving the way for innovations that would continue for centuries. The emergence of these creamy frozen desserts exemplified the resilience and adaptability of ancient cooks. Faced with limited resources, they embraced the use of dairy, ultimately leading to the creation of dishes that showcased the interplay of flavor and texture. Picture a family gathering around a bowl of this newfound delight, laughter ringing in the air as everyone eagerly digs in a celebration of both tradition and innovation. Yet, as we examine the influence of dairy on frozen treats, it's crucial to recognize that not all culinary experiments were successful. Imagine a cook proudly presenting a dish that turned out overly rich or cloying, an unexpected consequence of blending too many flavors. Such moments of trial and error only added to the lore and creativity of the kitchens, where each misstep became a stepping stone toward perfecting the art of dessert making. Now that we've explored the journey of dairy in ancient Chinese cuisine, let's turn our gaze to the lives of the common people once again. How did they adapt these new creamy creations to their own kitchens, and what unique methods did they employ to embrace the evolving world of frozen desserts? Join me as we venture into the homes of everyday families, discovering their ingenious ways of crafting icy treats amidst the challenges of their daily lives. As we shift our focus back to the common people of ancient China, picture yourself stepping into a humble home, where the warmth of family and the aroma of cooking fill the air. Imagine a small kitchen bustling with activity, children running about, laughter echoing as parents work together to create something special. Here, amidst the simplicity of everyday life, we discover how the ordinary folk embraced the evolving culinary landscape, particularly when it came to crafting their own versions of frozen treats. The glamorous illusion surrounding these icy confections may evoke visions of sophisticated kitchens filled with dairy and ice, yet the shocking reality is that the common people often had to be inventive with limited resources. Without the luxury of access to abundant dairy or the means to transport ice, they adapted to their circumstances with remarkable creativity. In the absence of regular supplies of milk, families relied on local ingredients that were both accessible and affordable. Imagine a mother stirring together a mixture of sweetened rice flour and water, creating a smooth, pliable dough. This dough would then be shaped into small dumplings or balls that could be filled with sweet pastes or fruits, adding a touch of delight to their desserts. The use of rice flour not only provided a unique texture, but also allowed families to stretch their ingredients further. The why behind these adaptations lies in the resilience and resourcefulness of the common folk, who understood the importance of creating moments of joy despite their limited means. For them, crafting frozen treats became a way to celebrate life's simple pleasures, offering a respite from the heat and a chance to gather together as a family. In the summer months, as temperatures soared, families would often transform leftover ingredients into refreshing icy delights. Picture a group of children, their eyes wide with excitement, as their parents crush ice collected from the local river and mix it with whatever sweet syrups they could concoct, perhaps from seasonal fruits like peaches or plums. This improvisational spirit resulted in a delightful array of flavors, from tangy to sweet, each reflecting the season's bounty. One popular method among families was to create a rudimentary version of snow cream. Imagine a father scooping bowls of freshly crushed ice, drizzling them with a syrup made from the sweetest fruits of the season, lychee, or perhaps fresh mulberries. This simple delight offered not only a cooling treat but also a sense of community, as families gathered to enjoy their creations together, laughter mixing with the clinking of bowls. Moreover, as the art of making frozen desserts spread among the common people, so too did the sharing of techniques. Picture neighbors exchanging tips on how to create a perfect icy delight, fostering a sense of camaraderie and connection within their communities. Local gatherings often featured contests to see who could craft the most delicious dessert, igniting friendly competition and encouraging innovation. Yet, in their quest for deliciousness, common cooks faced their own set of challenges. Without access to refined sugar or high-quality dairy, the balance of flavors was often a matter of trial and error. Imagine the amusing scenarios of kitchen mishaps: overly sweet syrups that turned to syrupy puddles or ice that melted too quickly under the summer sun. Each misadventure became a learning opportunity, allowing families to refine their techniques and savor the journey of culinary discovery. As these homemade frozen delights became a staple in the lives of common families, they began to symbolize not just refreshment, but also creativity and resilience. They were a testament to the human spirit, a celebration of togetherness amidst the simplicity of life. With this intimate glimpse into the homes of everyday cooks, let's now explore the art of making snow cream and similar icy delights. What techniques and processes did the common people employ to create these cold treats, and how did these methods evolve over the years? Join me on this journey as we uncover the secrets behind the craft of icy confections in ancient China. As we dive into the art of crafting snow cream and similar icy delights, allow yourself to envision a bustling kitchen filled with laughter and excitement. Picture a family gathered around a wooden table, each member contributing to the process of creating something truly special. The air is thick with anticipation as they prepare for one of summer's most delightful traditions, making their own refreshing frozen treats. The glamorous illusion surrounding these icy confections may conjure images of pristine white snow, expertly shaved and perfectly served. However, the shocking reality is that the process of making snow cream in ancient China was often much less refined, relying heavily on the natural elements and the creativity of those making it. At its core, snow cream was a straightforward creation, a mixture of freshly crushed ice or snow combined with sweet ingredients. Imagine a child running outside, scooping up soft, powdery snow, giggling as they bring it back inside, excited to be part of the sweet-making process. This innocent joy was at the heart of creating snow cream, where the simplest ingredients came together to create something refreshing and delightful. The why behind this practice was deeply rooted in the desire for celebration and relief from the summer heat. Families would gather together, often during festivals or special occasions, to enjoy these icy treats. The hands-on nature of making snow cream fostered a sense of connection, allowing everyone to contribute to the creation of something delicious and memorable. To make snow cream, families often relied on locally available sweeteners. Imagine a mother pouring a rich syrup made from boiled-down fruit juice, honey, or even maltose over the freshly gathered snow, watching as it transforms into a sweet, shimmering delight. As the mixture is stirred and combined, the vibrant colors of the fruit syrup bring life to the snowy concoction. This was not just a dessert, it became a symbol of family togetherness, a moment where everyone played a part in crafting joy from nature's bounty. In addition to syrup, other ingredients made their way into the mix. Cooks would incorporate flavors from seasonal fruits, such as ripe peaches or plums, mashing them into a pulpy sweet paste that would enhance the snow cream's flavor profile. Picture the joy of tasting a scoop of snow cream flavored with the essence of freshly picked fruits, each bite a burst of summer. The methods for creating these frozen delights varied from household to household, influenced by personal preferences and regional ingredients. Some families might have added a pinch of salt to enhance the sweetness, while others experimented with herbs or spices to create unique flavor combinations. Imagine the delight of a family gathering with their neighbors, swapping stories about their latest flavor experiments, all while tasting each other's creations. However, making snow cream was not without its challenges. The availability of ice or snow depended heavily on the season and local climate. Families had to be resourceful, often making do with what they had on hand. Picture the improvisation involved when snow was scarce. Cooks might have resorted to using crushed ice from a nearby river or carefully stored ice harvested during winter, showing their determination to create something special despite the obstacles. As time passed, the methods of making snow cream and similar treats became more refined, influenced by the exchange of ideas and flavors along trade routes. Yet, the essence of these icy delights remained rooted in the spirit of community and creativity, a testament to the human desire to find joy in the simplest of pleasures. With this understanding of the craft behind snow cream, let's now explore the cultural significance of frozen desserts in ancient China. How did these icy delights find their place in celebrations and festivals, and what deeper meanings did they carry within the fabric of society? Join me as we uncover the rich tapestry of cultural connections woven through the enjoyment of frozen treats. As we delve into the cultural significance of frozen desserts in ancient China, let your mind wander to vibrant festivals, bustling gatherings, and joyful celebrations where food takes center stage. Imagine the sights and sounds of a traditional Chinese festival with colorful banners fluttering in the breeze, the rhythmic beating of drums, and the laughter of families and friends coming together. In the midst of all this merriment, frozen treats play an essential role, offering both refreshment and a sense of connection. The glamorous illusion surrounding these festivals suggests a scene brimming with opulence and abundance, lavish tables lined with exquisite dishes, performers entertaining the crowds, and of course the tantalizing presence of frozen dessert. However, the shocking reality is that the significance of icy delights went far beyond mere indulgence. They were intertwined with the social fabric and cultural practices of the time. During ancient Chinese festivals, food was not merely sustenance, it was a means of expressing gratitude, celebrating the harvest, and honoring ancestors. Frozen desserts, in particular, became a way to commemorate special occasions and create lasting memories. Imagine families gathering to share a bowl of sweetened snow cream, laughter mingling with the sound of fireworks overhead, each scoop serving as a reminder of the joy of togetherness. The why behind this cultural significance can be traced to the deep-rooted beliefs surrounding food in Chinese society. Meals were often elaborate affairs, with each dish symbolizing different wishes and blessings. Sweet treats, including frozen desserts, represented happiness, prosperity, and the sweetness of life itself. By serving these icy delights during important celebrations, families hoped to invoke good fortune and joy for the year ahead. Picture a bustling street during the Dragon Boat Festival, where vendors line the pathways, each offering their own unique versions of frozen confections. Families eagerly share their creations, showcasing flavors inspired by local ingredients and cultural traditions. The exchange of these treats fosters a sense of community, as neighbors come together to celebrate not only the festival but also their shared heritage. Moreover, frozen desserts were often featured during weddings and other significant life events. Imagine a bride and groom, surrounded by loved ones, cutting into a beautifully crafted ice sculpture filled with sweetened fruits and cream. The act of sharing this delicacy becomes a beautiful ritual, a symbol of the couple's hopes for a joyful and prosperous future together. In this context, frozen treats take on a deeper meaning, transcending mere flavor to embody the aspirations and dreams of families and communities. As the practice of serving frozen desserts spread, so too did the variety of flavors and techniques. The ingenuity of cooks and families allowed for a delightful array of options, each embodying the spirit of creativity and celebration. Imagine the joy of discovering a new flavor of snow cream made with fragrant jasmine, or the thrill of tasting a new concoction that combines layers of sweet pastes and crushed icy, true testament to the evolving culinary landscape. However, as with any cultural practice, the significance of frozen dessert was not without its challenges. The seasonal nature of ingredients influenced how and when these treats were enjoyed. Families had to adapt to the changing seasons, often making the most of the summer months to enjoy their icy creations. Picture the anticipation building as families look forward to summer festivals, where frozen delights are not just a treat but a highlight of the season. With this understanding of the cultural significance of frozen desserts, let's now examine how the concept of ice cream began to spread beyond ancient China. How did these practices influence neighboring cultures and cuisines, and what transformations occurred as frozen treats took on new identities across borders? Join me as we explore the global journey of frozen desserts, where ancient traditions mingle with new influences. As we embark on the journey of frozen desserts spreading beyond the borders of ancient China, imagine the pathways of trade and cultural exchange that crisscross the globe. Picture bustling ports where merchants exchanged goods, ideas, and culinary secrets, each interaction leaving an indelible mark on the traditions of the regions they touched. In this vibrant tapestry of interconnectedness, the concept of frozen desserts began to weave its way into neighboring cultures, transforming and evolving along the way. The glamorous illusion surrounding this exchange paints a picture of chefs and merchants graciously sharing their secrets, each culture enriching the other with sweet innovations. However, the shocking reality is that the spread of these culinary practices was often a complex interplay of adaptation, appropriation, and the merging of tastes. In the centuries that followed the flourishing of the Silk Road, the influence of Chinese frozen desserts became evident in various neighboring regions. As traders moved eastward toward Japan and Korea, they brought with them the concept of icy delights. Imagine a Japanese cook, inspired by tales of sweetened, snow fruit ices, experimenting with local ingredients like matcha and azuki beans to create their own frozen confections. This ability to blend traditional practices with new influences allowed for unique interpretations of frozen desserts that reflected each culture's palate and preferences. The why behind this adaptation lies in the universal desire for refreshment and enjoyment, particularly in warmer climates. As different cultures embraced the idea of frozen treats, they began to infuse their own culinary traditions and flavors. For example, in Japan, The introduction of matcha sweet rice cake paired with crushed ice or sweet syrups led to the creation of a beloved dessert known as sugary. Picture a warm summer day where families gather at local festivals, indulging in shaved ice topped with vibrant syrups, each bite a celebration of flavors unique to their culture. In Korea, the influence of Chinese frozen desserts manifested in the delightful concoction known as bingsu. Imagine a bustling street vendor skillfully shaving blocks of ice into fluffy, delicate mounds, then generously drizzling them with condensed milk, fruit, and sweetened red beans. The emergence of bingsu not only highlights the transformation of frozen treats but also reflects the Korean emphasis on seasonal ingredients and communal dining. As these frozen delights made their way to the Middle East, they underwent yet another metamorphosis. The introduction of milk-based frozen desserts, such as the Persian faludi, showcases the rich flavors of rose water and the refreshing essence of lime. Picture a gathering where plates of faludi are passed around, the delicate noodles of frozen dessert served alongside aromatic syrups, each bite a burst of refreshing sweetness. As these diverse interpretations of frozen desserts spread across regions, the idea of ice cream as we know it today began to take shape. The combination of dairy, ice, and sweet flavors became a foundation for innovation, leading to the creation of richer, creamier frozen treats. Yet, even as these transformations occurred, the essence of the original icy delights remained a celebration of togetherness, creativity, and joy. However, the spread of frozen desserts was not without its challenges. Each culture faced unique obstacles in sourcing ingredients, preserving ice, and adapting techniques. Imagine the ingenuity required to create frozen treats in hot climates, where ice was scarce and refrigeration was a distant dream. In these areas, cooks often relied on natural ice or creative methods to keep their frozen concoctions chilled, showcasing the resilience of culinary traditions. Now that we have explored the global journey of frozen desserts, let's turn our attention to the modern interpretations of these ancient practices. How have contemporary chefs and home cooks embraced the legacy of ancient frozen treats, and what innovations have emerged in the world of ice cream? Join me as we uncover the exciting evolution of frozen delights in the present day, where tradition meets innovation. As we turn our gaze to the modern era of frozen treats, imagine the vibrant and bustling ice cream shops that dot the landscapes of cities around the world. Picture the colorful displays of ice cream tubs, each one brimming with an array of flavors and familiar, others daringly innovative. In this contemporary age, the legacy of ancient frozen desserts has inspired a renaissance of creativity, bringing together tradition and innovation in delightful new ways. The glamorous illusion surrounding modern ice cream often presents it as a seemingly effortless indulgence, a perfect scoop enjoyed on a sunny day. Yet the shocking reality is that beneath this glossy surface lies a complex world of culinary science, artistry, and an ever-evolving understanding of flavor profiles and textures. Today's ice cream makers are not just serving sweet treats, they are crafting experiences that reflect cultural histories, personal stories, and a deep appreciation for ingredients. In recent years, the rise of artisanal ice cream has redefined how we view this beloved dessert. Imagine stepping into a small shop where the air is filled with the sweet scent of freshly churned ice cream, and the walls are lined with chalkboard menus detailing flavors inspired by global cuisines. Here, chefs draw from the rich tapestry of history, blending ancient techniques with modern culinary practices. Ingredients like matcha, miso, and even savory herbs have found their way into ice cream recipes, each scoop telling a story of cultural exchange and innovation. The why behind this resurgence can be attributed to a growing appreciation for authenticity, quality, and the celebration of local ingredients. Modern consumers are increasingly seeking out experiences that connect them to the flavors of their heritage or introduce them to new culinary adventures. Ice cream has become a canvas for creativity, allowing chefs to honor tradition while also pushing the boundaries of flavor. Imagine a chef who takes inspiration from the ancient practice of using local fruits to craft a refreshing summer sorbet. They might blend ripe peaches with a hint of ginger, showcasing the flavors of the season while telling the story of their roots. This connection to the past adds layers of depth to the modern ice cream experience, transforming a simple scoop into a journey through time and culture. Additionally, the technological advancements in freezing and churning methods have allowed for greater exploration of textures and flavors. Picture a state-of-the-art gelato maker effortlessly creating smooth, creamy batches of ice cream, the science behind the machinery elevating the quality of the final product. These innovations enable ice cream artisans to achieve the velvety consistency that fans have come to love while experimenting with bold new combinations. Yet, as we celebrate these modern adaptations, it's also important to remember the humble origins of frozen treats. Imagine the small artisan shop that honors ancient traditions by offering snow cream made from locally sourced ice and fragrant syrups, a nod to the past amidst the contemporary landscape. These connections serve as reminders that while the world of ice cream has evolved, the essence of joy and togetherness remains at its core. In this contemporary context, ice cream has also become a global phenomenon. International collaborations and cross-cultural influences can be seen in the rise of fusion flavors that combine elements from various cuisines. Picture a trendy ice cream shop serving matcha-infused green tea ice cream alongside flavors inspired by Mexican palates, each scoop a celebration of culinary diversity. This melding of cultures enriches the ice cream experience, inviting people from different backgrounds to come together and share a moment of enjoyment. As we reflect on the modern interpretations of frozen desserts, it's important to consider how these innovations will shape the future. What exciting trends are emerging in the realm of ice cream, and how will they continue to honor the legacy of ancient practices? Join me as we explore the future of frozen delights, where new technologies and evolving tastes promise endless possibilities. As we look to the future of frozen desserts, imagine a world where innovation and tradition continue to intertwine, producing ice cream that is not only delicious but also reflects a deeper understanding of sustainability, health, and creativity. Picture the bustling kitchens of tomorrow, where chefs experiment with cutting-edge techniques and ingredients to craft frozen treats that push the boundaries of flavor and texture. The glamorous illusion surrounding the future of ice cream is a realm filled with bold flavors, eye-catching presentations, and attention to dietary preferences. However, the shocking reality is that as we venture into this new frontier, the ice cream industry faces significant challenges, particularly concerning sustainability and health-conscious choices. In recent years, the demand for healthier options has surged, prompting ice cream makers to explore alternatives to traditional dairy and sugar. Imagine walking into an ice cream shop where the menu includes options made with plant-based milks, natural sweeteners, and innovative ingredients like avocado or cashew cream. These alternatives not only cater to dietary restrictions, but also align with a growing awareness of environmental sustainability. The why behind this shift is rooted in a collective consciousness about health and wellness. As consumers become increasingly aware of what they put into their bodies, there is a greater emphasis on seeking out ingredients that are wholesome and nutritious. This trend has sparked creativity in the kitchen, as chefs develop recipes that maintain the indulgent qualities of ice cream while enhancing its nutritional profile. Picture a chef proudly scooping a vibrant, green matcha avocado ice cream, knowing that it is not only delicious, but also packed with healthy fats and antioxidants. This blend of tradition and innovation reflects the ongoing journey of frozen desserts, where ancient practices meet contemporary health trends, offering a diverse array of flavors to satisfy evolving palates. Moreover, sustainability has emerged as a guiding principle for many ice cream makers. Imagine local artisans sourcing ingredients from nearby farms, crafting ice creams that celebrate the regional harvest while minimizing their carbon footprint. This commitment to sustainability extends beyond just sourcing ingredients. It encompasses eco-friendly packaging, waste reduction practices, and support for local communities. The growing emphasis on sustainability represents a shift in consumer values, where the enjoyment of ice cream is intertwined with a responsibility to protect this planet. As we envision the future of frozen desserts, we must also consider the role of technology in shaping our experiences. Advances in food science and machinery are paving the way for new techniques that enhance the quality and consistency of ice cream. Imagine a state-of-the-art sorbet maker that allows for precise temperature control, creating a texture that rivals even the most luxurious gelato. These innovations open up possibilities for chefs to experiment with flavors and create unique combinations that were previously unattainable. Yet, even as technology advances, the core essence of ice cream remains unchanged. It is a source of joy, connection, and celebration. The future of frozen desserts will continue to honor this legacy, inviting people from all walks of life to share in delightful moments of indulgence and togetherness. As we contemplate the exciting possibilities ahead, it's essential to reflect on the enduring impact of ancient culinary traditions. The journey of ice cream, from its humble beginnings in ancient China to its modern iterations, is a testament to the resilience of creativity and the human spirit. Frozen desserts will continue to evolve, but at their heart, they will always embody the joy of sharing, celebrating, and savoring life's sweetest moments. With this reflection on the future of frozen delights, let's now explore the myths and misconceptions surrounding the ancient ice cream narrative. What common misunderstandings exist about the history of frozen desserts, and how can we clarify what is fact versus fiction? Join me as we debunk these myths and reveal the truths about the fascinating journey of ice cream. As we approach the culmination of our journey through the history of frozen desserts, let's take a moment to clarify some of the myths and misconceptions that have arisen around the ancient narrative of ice cream. Imagine stepping into a lively debate among food historians, each passionately defending their interpretation of the origins and evolution of this beloved treat. Yet, amid the enthusiasm, a few inaccuracies tend to cloud our understanding of frozen desserts and their rich history. The glamorous illusion often casts ancient ice cream as a sophisticated luxury enjoyed exclusively by emperors and nobility, suggesting that this treat was crafted with great expertise and refinement from the very beginning. However, the shocking reality is that the development of frozen desserts was a gradual and often experimental process, with many humble beginnings rooted in the creativity of ordinary people. The early iterations of frozen treats were far from the smooth, creamy delights we enjoy today. They were often rudimentary mixtures of ice and sweet pastes influenced by local ingredients and cultural practices. One significant myth surrounds the idea that ice cream originated solely in ancient China and was subsequently brought to the West through trade routes. While it is true that these Chinese were among the first to experiment with icy confections, the notion that they held exclusive rights to this culinary innovation overlooks the contributions of other cultures. For example, evidence of similar frozen desserts can be found in ancient Persia, where ice was mixed with fruit syrups to create refreshing treats during hot summers. The Mediterranean regions also have ancient recipes that resemble icy delicacies, showcasing the interconnectedness of culinary traditions across cultures. Another common misconception is the belief that dairy-based ice creams emerged instantly with the introduction of milk into ancient Chinese cuisine. In reality, the incorporation of dairy into frozen desserts was a slow evolution influenced by regional practices and resources. For centuries, many cultures were hesitant to embrace dairy, leading to a diverse range of sweet frozen treats that varied widely in texture and flavor. The blending of dairy with ice and sweet ingredients didn't occur uniformly. It was a process shaped by local customs, available ingredients, and the ingenuity of cooks. The idea that ice cream as we know it today emerged overnight in the modern era is also misleading. While technological advancements have certainly refined ice cream production, the journey to create our contemporary versions has been a complex intertwining of tradition, experimentation, and cultural exchange. Picture the generations of cooks and artisans, each building on the knowledge of their predecessors, leading to the rich tapestry of flavors and techniques we now recognize. Perhaps one of the most persistent myths is the romanticized notion that ice cream was always a luxury item, reserved for special occasions. In truth, frozen desserts have played a role in everyday life for centuries, providing relief from heat and a source of joy for people across various social classes. The evolution of ice cream reflects the diverse experiences of cultures around the world, emphasizing that enjoyment can be found in both humble and extravagant forms. As we conclude our exploration of the myths surrounding ice cream's history, it is essential to recognize the enduring legacy of this beloved treat. The journey from ancient confections crafted by resourceful cooks to the modern ice creams filled with innovative flavors is a testament to the human spirit's creativity and adaptability. Ice cream continues to serve as a source of joy and connection, bridging cultures and generations. Now, let's take a moment to slow down and reflect on the profound impact that the ancient practices of creating frozen desserts have left on our modern world. As we embrace the stories of the past, we are reminded that each scoop of ice cream carries with it the echoes of history, the laughter of families, the creativity of cooks, and the joy of shared experiences. With that, let's gently ease into our wind down, inviting a sense of calm and tranquility as we conclude this journey.